I had Darren Olian on, and he was talking about fatal conveniences. It's like so convenient for us to just smell good all the time and do it, but it's at a cost. It's literally killing us.
I love that that name of his book. Like, that's a great name. Like, when
It
I
is.
saw that, because I see his stuff and it's really good. We actually have a lot in common. I need to talk to him. But
oh yeah,
the fatal convenience is, I read an article in a National Geographic, and it's all it said essentially that, like, all the things that make modern life amazing are essentially what poisoning this person, right?
Mm-hmm.
This reporter had his blood work done, and he was loaded with flame retardants from traveling in planes. Yep. That's where it came from. I don't know if you remember that in National Geographic. I talk about it a lot, and it is a fatal convenience. When we make things convenient, they have a consequence.
Yes.
There's a consequence to the fast food, right? There's a consequence to the can of pop. There's a consequence. It's easy, but long term, there's a consequence to our actions. And I think one of the biggest challenges as humans is understanding self-responsibility for our consequences and the decisions that we make. And it's hard to break through with that, bro. It just really is.
You know, it's not just incredibly hard to break through, because it is such a, like, once you have that convenience, like I remember I lived with roommates, you know, in college and all this and that, and into my young years in New York City, where I just couldn't afford an apartment, you know, without other people there. And I remember it's like one of those things when you get your own bathroom finally. It's like, I'm not going back. You know, I get my own. It's like tucked off. Like, I don't need to share this with other slobs or anything. Like, it's wonderful. It's like you can't turn back almost. And I feel that's where we are. It's like everything's so convenient. You know, you get it in 1 second. You're carrying the cup with the phthalates in it, but it's so easy to, like, bring in my own glass or clean it afterwards and do this. And I could just throw it away in single-use plastics. And do you think we're at a level where we could now, as a society? I know individuals that have been able to do this, but as a society, be able to say, I'm going to spend more, put in more effort, and give up these conveniences for my health? Because I just haven't seen it yet. And I'll say this one last piece before you jump in. I also think we have a medical complex that's saying, don't worry, we have the solutions for you anyway. So just go ahead and get sick and we'll give you a pill for it. So it kind of complicates the scenario a little bit. But do you think we as a society can go back to a non-toxic living that is a little bit harder, a little bit more expensive, it seems, and we'd have to give up a lot of these fatal conveniences?
I think we'll be forced to over time. I think we'll get back to regenerative farming. I think there'll be I think disease will get so great that it will affect the population. It will, if we don't change, nature's going to win, right? And disease is going to win. It's just, I feel like it's math. It's a math problem.
We're nearing a tipping point, right? Like,
I mean, I don't know how far off we are. I like to say we are pretty robust as humans. We can take quite a beating. I mean, look at all the meds that we take, and you can still live to 90 years old, right? So I think we're a way off from it, but there's only so much, unless we adapt. But I don't think we're going to adapt that quickly. You know, I think the body does adapt. We have hormesis. We're brilliant, right? That you give us a little bit of toxins, we'll find ways. Our bodies will produce new pathways and enzymes and kind of work on that. I don't know if it produces new necessary in the biology, but it definitely figures. My alarm's going off in my house now. It's a kid, an alarm. Actually, I think I'm about the only one that can get rid of it.
There's a convenience that hopefully isn't that fatal.
It's a flood alarm, right? So I could show you on my phone.
This is one of the conveniences that is enjoyable. This could save you.
Yeah, and so everything in my house, right? I don't have a smart home, and this is just a radio frequency, so it's not a damaging frequency. But I wire my house, and use some of the lesser, not as cool toys, so that I can still have some of my conveniences. I just shut it off. It's fine, too low. But I have these water things underneath my kids' sink because I've found that they flood things.
Kids are known to do that. Yeah.
So I put them strategically all over the home. So I have 9 of these little sensors, and they go off. But for random reasons, because someone's cleaning in the area and hits them and they touch water, they're like going off. But the other problem is now, is it shuts off my water main in my house. So now my water main's off, and then my pressure pump goes off through all this stuff. So now the alarm company is calling me. So I gotta answer this.
You answer it. I'm just gonna talk a point about that while you answer that, is the idea of you want to always be looking at any water exposure in homes these days because of the mold. And it's just the sad fact. I've had mold experts on before talk about how even a little bit of water within sheetrock can turn into a huge issue. And that's something you always got to be looking at. So I think this idea of sensors everywhere, of being a little bit more, vigilant about what goes on with water and everything is smart.